Flapping your gums with Vinny and Hessey. Yeah!
All right, we are back, guys. Vinny is here with us, flapping your gums, and we have a guest, Ellia Miller.
What's up?
All right, here we go.
What's up?
So this is pretty exciting.
See,
I'm stoked.
Nothing worked the way he said it was gonna work.
I totally missed
I mean,
that.
Yeah,
he was
that
like,
wasn't how it was supposed to go.
Yeah, because then Vinny's like,
and who are you again? Are you Hessey?
I had it all planned in my mind. Well, they already know who I am. You said I got to talk less, so there you go. Yeah, I had it all planned out in my mind, and then right before we do it, Vinny goes, "Hey, you should do it this way," and then of course it just messes you up. So
I think Ellia
that's your
understood
fault.
what I was saying. She understood what I was doing.
I did.
She
That's
did.
cool. Well, Elia's here, so we got her.
All right.
So
Nice to have you on the
Ellia,
show, Ellia. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Dude, this is pretty cool. We're pretty pumped up about it. We'll be able to really get some stuff going here too. She well, let's go. We were talking about your last. You have an episode that has like 18,000 views or something. So
Yeah, so
Dude,
Whoa.
this-
An
this-
episode of what?
It's
podcast.
A podcast.
You have a podcast.
Well, okay, so I used to host a podcast. I am currently not hosting it, but I've been a guest on a number of podcasts at this point, and I was on a podcast called Counterculture maybe 7 or 8 months ago, and most of their videos, you know, they get a couple hundred views, maybe 1,000. My episode with them, I think last time I looked, was up to 18,000 views.
Well, good. That's good for us.
Yeah.
We might
Well,
break
so
100
more.
Here's the catch. I think it's up that high because we recorded barefoot with our feet on camera.
Foot fetish.
So it's like that. Yeah. What's that website called where they do
Feet
feet?
Finder.
Yeah, Feet Finder. There you go.
I
So
think
people
we
were able to.
ended up on
How
Feet
long?
Finder.
How long was the episode?
It was like 90 minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
90
so they got an
minutes of
hour and a
just
half
pure
of
foot
free
love.
feet.
Oh,
Free
yeah.
feet
I
for an
know,
hour and a half.
We should have charged for it. Missed
Oh
opportunity.
my gosh. Sean, we're gonna have to start doing our podcast with our feet.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. I don't know that we'll get the same.
We might
the
get two
same-
more.
Yeah, we might lose a couple. We start putting our feet up on there, dude. There's a difference between dudes' feet and women's feet for sure.
So there were a lot of comments on the YouTube video. The hosts are a guy and a girl, and everybody was like, "Oh, girls' feet are beautiful. That guy needs to get his feet out of the video."
I can see that for sure. Yeah, dude, it's like, you know, there's nothing pleasant about a dude's feet. They got long toes and just, I mean, even if they don't have like the weird long like man toes, then it's like they're the exact opposite and they look like hobbit feet. It's like it's all super short and you got hairy knuckles. And yeah, it's just.
So we might have to come up with a theme for men's feet. You know, you might have to do like food or, you know, just smashing them around in something. I don't know. Just like working them in there.
There's so many opportunities there that you could go for.
I know. Feet
Some
finder.
great stuff. Yeah, feet finder. So I guess if all else fails, if we get midway through this, we might have Ellia just kick her feet up on the table here.
That would work.
Let's see where
That'd
we
work.
go. Huh? All right. So, well, Ellia, so she is now, we get to do it live, which is cool because she now is a Fallon resident of Fallon, America,
Awesome.
here where I live. But let's talk a little bit about you. So, first of all, thank you for the full update on the pre one. That's rad. So that worked out real well. I was looking for just like your Instagram stuff, and then you were like, bam, hammering it down. So I got to study it up.
I
No,
follow instructions.
I know she's very good. Yeah, it's one of them smart ones, dude. We got a smart one on here.
I know.
So we got to keep it together.
I get it. And we're going to have to change the name. Flapping Your Gums with Hessey, Vinny, and Ellia. Like, she's going to run this.
Yeah,
She's going to run
keep
this
her
thing.
rolling. Keep her rolling. So let's just start out. Like we were talking about, like growing up I get, how old you are and stuff like that. Let's kind of get a background on you, and we'll kind of roll into it that way.
All right, so I am Ellia. I'm 31 years old. I'll be 32 in a little over a month. That's terrifying.
Birthday.
Oh wow, yeah,
birthday,
32.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
She's still, it's young.
Hey, in CrossFit, that's old. I'm an old woman. I
Yeah.
compete against like 18, 19-year-olds. There was a girl at my competition at Wadapalooza last week that was 14, 15, I think.
And you're in your division?
Yeah.
Dude, that seems like, I feel like there's such a disadvantage of that. Like, think about, like you're super fit. So for the listeners, Wadapalooza is in Miami. It's a CrossFit competition. It's huge. And so there's like, how many days? 3 days? 4 days?
It was 4 days total. I competed for 2 days.
Yeah. So, and Ellia qualified for the elite. So they break it down in different categories. So that's like the best.
Yeah, it's the highest level.
The highest level of Wadapalooza. So they have to swim out in the bay, and it's like this huge. You guys can look it up, because we could spend all day talking about that one. But I feel like when you're at a competition like that, and there's a 14, 16, whatever year old, there's like a huge. I mean, the mental part of it's probably you got a little more advantage on that, but the body wise,
yeah,
dude, it's just night and day. You have to think. Imagine what Imagine what your recovery would have been if you were doing this
at 15. Yeah, I know.
If
I
there
think
is,
about that every day.
It's probably recovered by the next workout. You're like,
But your recovery would be good. But how, like your muscle building? I mean, by the time you're 14, I mean, how much muscle? I mean, have you really built up and stamina? And I mean, I guess a 14-year-old stamina never. I mean, they don't even know what that is because it's just going all the time. But I mean, just the muscle stuff, like on your lifts and your, anything like that, like what you can do and technique and stuff. But does a 14-year-old really have the same strength, I guess would be the question I'm asking on.
So here's the scary part. I am one of the stronger athletes when it comes to like the highest level of CrossFit.
Right.
This 15-year-old athlete outlifts me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they haven't even had enough time in their life to get enough protein to build the muscles up, I would think. I mean, when I was 14, I was like, I don't know, riding bikes and playing tennis.
We probably don't want to hear some of this story when you were 14. Neither.
I was a good kid. I was a good kid when I was 14.
Oh, that's what we're doing. Dude, this show's about facts.
It's facts. I was a good 14 years old. I didn't even start CrossFit until I was 38, 39?
Yeah. So
yeah,
I
38.
got Vinny into CrossFit.
That's awesome.
And because there was a picture, I don't know how, that wasn't really what started it, but there was
wow.
There was that one I can't go on, so I apologize. I don't want to get the garage door open enough.
Oh man,
because Tasha's out making our bets. So
yeah, I know.
Welcome.
We got our NFL bets. Play out bet. Thank you, Tasha. Thank you. So Sean would come and visit, and he would be like, "Come on, dude, you can come work out with us. You can come work out with us." I have never worked out a day in my life. Recently divorced at the time, and it was like, no, it's fine. So he drags me down to this, CrossFit gym that we have here, and it's nothing compared to what you guys work out in. I've been there, and so I go and I do this workout, and it's nothing but arms. I can't do a pull-up. They put me in the corner, and when Sean and Tasha showed up, it was like, welcome back, Sean. It was a Sean and Tasha show. Like everybody, I mean, look at him. He's a specimen. I mean, we don't have that kind of stuff here. We don't have athletes. We've got, we got guys that go and work out so they can eat nachos at lunch. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of gym. But I'm over in the corner trying to do these pull-ups. We were doing, we had to do, 10 push-ups and 10 pull-ups. Bench press. We had to do 10 bench press, 10 pull-ups. 9 bench press, 10 pull-ups. 8. So the bench press went down, but your pull-ups went up. I couldn't do a pull-up to save my life. 2 years later, my arms still hurt from doing those pull-ups. Like, it was unreal. And it was like
CrossFit.
I mean, you know, and don't get me wrong, Sweeney is a phenomenal coach. Like, I've gone there a few times and I've learned so much. But it was that kind of deal, and Sean's just going through all this stuff. And yeah, it was rough. I was 217 pounds, 38 years old. And the one picture that I sent Sean, it was probably maybe a month into me actually going to CrossFit every day. And he goes, dude, it looks like you're eating babies. Like, I had too tight of a shirt on. It was a rough picture.
Well, I don't know if the shirt was too tight or if you just grew into the shirt.
Well,
but
either way, I shouldn't have been wearing that shirt.
It looked like he just got done doing a workout, and so he was like bent back and like huffing and puffing. It looked like so. Then like he's just like, and I'm like, dude, it looks like you've been eating babies, bro. And so but you're into it now. But Aaliyah is a fit person, so I feel like she has no sympathy for us in our stories.
Actually,
she's that much fitter than we are, except that she had to go work out in Wadapalooza with a 14, 15-year-old that could lift more than her, and she's super strong. So I feel scared for that generation coming up.
Yeah, it's gonna be scary.
Yeah.
But no, I get it, because when I started CrossFit, I'm only 5'4", and when I started CrossFit, I was almost 190 pounds in a bad way.
I understand bad ways.
You were 5'4"?
5'4", 190 pounds.
So how old were
190 pounds of Taco Bell.
That's body built by Taco Bell.
How old were you when you started doing CrossFit?
Let's see. I started in 2014, maybe. So I was 22.
Yeah, so 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
But like Sean said, we need to kind of start. Like, you were born in California.
Well, that's what I was going to go back to.
Yeah, we need to start from the beginning. My bad.
We're all butterflies. Squirrel is chasing. But you said that you didn't have much time, like fun time as a kid, because you were a competitive dancer.
Yeah, so growing up, I was a competitive dancer and a competitive gymnast. I started dance when I was probably like 1 or 2 years old. My older brother and sister were both dancers. So basically, as soon as I was old enough to go into the baby class, I started at a dance studio, started gymnastics maybe a couple years after that. And then I think I started competing in gymnastics first, and then a couple years later started competing in dance, and I competed in both for a while, and then got to a point where I just didn't have time to do both anymore, so I had to choose one or the other. My brother and sister were both still dancing, so I wanted to dance with my brother and sister, so I quit gymnastics and just focused on dance. I was maybe like 11 or 12 at that point.
And so you have a brother and a sister, both older. How much older are they?
My sister is about 2 years older than me, and my brother is about 4 years older than me.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you quit doing gymnastics, what did you like? What was your best part of gymnastics? Did you do rings? Did you do bars? Or were you just tumbling?
Girls in gymnastics don't do rings, so I never did anything on the rings until I started CrossFit.
Okay.
I did floor, which is like tumbling.
Okay.
I did vault, beam, and uneven bars. And I don't even know what my best event was.
I love uneven bars.
That's
where you have the 2 bars, and you can like swing around the one, and then you fly off the one, and you drop down to the next one. Like, yeah. I think that's one. I like that one. I do like the ring situation too, but I think that uneven bar stuff I think that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and sometimes I look back and wish that I had picked gymnastics instead of dance.
Well, now that you're doing CrossFit, yeah, that would come in handy a lot with some of the stuff that we do here. I mean,
yeah, but even in So like the gym that I was at for gymnastics, it was a pretty high level gym. It was out in California, and we had a lot of girls at our gym that would end up going to like Olympic qualifiers or Olympic trials, whatever they call it. I don't know.
Sounds about right. Yeah, Olympic trial.
And so,
this was out of Modesto.
Yeah, Modesto, California. I was at USA Elite Gymnastics, and when I was a sophomore or junior in high school, I was watching the Olympic trials on TV and watching, girls that I used to compete against at the Olympic trials on TV.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big time right there. So cool. Did when you did the sawhorse, what is that one called?
The vault.
The vault. Did you ever run and like mess up and run into it?
No, but so
I wanted to ask the question too.
Honestly, probably at some point I did. I don't remember, but I do know. My concentration face, I would stick my tongue out.
Okay, yeah.
And
Michael Jordan style?
My coach would always yell at me that I was going to bite my tongue off because I would run full speed toward the vault with my tongue out.
Oh, man. Dude, mine was not quite that extreme. My tongue would come out when I was drawing. So I don't think I had to worry about losing my tongue on that one.
No.
Because good thing you didn't run into it. You probably would have known because you were missing part of your tongue. So maybe you never did. Pretty lucky.
Oh my goodness! So you lived in Modesto? Like, did you go all the way through high school in Modesto, or did you guys move from there?
I went to school in Escalon, which is about 10 minutes north of Modesto. It's a small little farm town. My mom taught at the school district in Escalon, so okay. I went to school in Modesto until like 3rd grade, and then I went over to Escalon and went through high school in Escalon. And then after, what was that?
Oh no, go ahead. It was just a kind of funny thing. I was gonna be like, so your mom had to drive you to school every day until you were a junior in high school?
Yeah. Until I was a senior in high school, because I was always really young. I didn't get my license until I was a senior in high school, and there's actually a funny story about that. I had just gotten my license, and I was driving to school one day, and I left the house about 5 minutes before my mom. And to get from our house to Escalon was just like back roads, speed limit's 55, whatever. And I was listening to my music, having a good time, not paying attention to how fast I was going, and I ended up getting pulled over for speeding. I think I was doing like 73 in a 55.
Oh. Dang.
I didn't even realize it. I was just so like into my music, whatever, and I see these cop lights behind me, and I'm like, oh shit. So I get pulled over.
Your mom drives by and you're in cuffs over the hood for going too fast.
She wasn't getting drug busted.
She was 73 to 55. I mean, that's excessive,
You're ruining this.
I'm sorry.
You're ruining the punchline.
All right.
So I'm pulled over. The cop is pulled over behind me. And my mom, a couple minutes later, is driving by and sees me pulled over. So she freaks out. She pulls up behind the cop, pinning him between my car and her car.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So the cop is like, what the hell is going on? Why is
he's
this
on high alert.
My car. So he freaks out, goes and talks to her, and she's like, oh, that's my daughter. Like, her father and I are going to have a talking to when she gets home and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting in my car bawling. I was so scared. And the cop, he talks to my mom for a couple minutes, and then he comes over and he's like, well, I'm going to let you off with a warning because it sounds like your parents are going to take care of it when you get home.
Hey, good job, Mom. Thanks, Shoot, yeah.
So, and then I got home that night, and of course my mom told my dad. So then my dad made me calculate how much time I would have gained going the speed that I was going versus going the speed limit to get to school.
And that's why you're smarter than both of us.
Remember what it was?
It was like 3 minutes or something like that.
Because
Something
how
stupid.
far was it? Because the distance wasn't as far.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'd be a little more embarrassed if mom pulled up.
I was so
looked out for us.
embarrassed.
Yeah. I'd be like, just give me the ticket, tell her to go away. Give me the ticket, tell her to go away.
That is not my mother. I don't know.
I don't know who that lady is.
Let the dog out.
The dog, yeah.
Get that canine unit out of there. I don't know who that is.
You might want to check her. She's a crazy woman.
I've never seen her a day in my life.
So you went all the way through high school, and then
Yep.
after high school, so you were doing dance at 11. So how was your dance competitions going from, I guess, middle school through high school? Like, were you competitive dancing?
Yeah, so I was a competitive dancer probably for like 8 or 9 years total. I danced
And what kind
for
of
about
dance
15
was it?
years. I did tap, jazz, ballet, modern, hip-hop, point, all of it.
Dang.
Sounds like Alexa. But then you went through, so you got out of that. You kind of it's kind of a drastic little change you got there, because you go from you're a competitive dancer, gymnast. Sophomore year, you decide to stop doing it and just decide to get into drama and yearbook.
Yeah.
That seems kind of a huge flop.
So
It's not a
left
huge
my
flop.
dance studio.
Dude, you went from tennis to yearbook.
I was tennis and
difference.
yearbook. I was tennis yearbook and drama. I was in the school play.
Oh, you did drama too? I was, we don't know. I did the play. I did stage crew. Does that count?
You were,
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
I mean, I really.
You were one of the weirdos
No,
that was in drama.
he was
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
cool. He was the you know, that kid in school when you have the athlete that just walks around and everybody's like, oh, Sean. That was him. That was him all the way through high school. He was the basketball player. He was the football player. He was the kid that could talk his way out of 5 minutes, 10 minutes early out of class with any teacher. He'd be like, hey, I gotta
definitely
go.
do that. I gotta go do setting up some stage stuff for drama.
I was the weirdo that was too smart for my own good, and I had no friends because of it.
Oh, man. If we were in drama, we'd have been friends.
Well, I wish I would have been.
Stuff.
Yeah. Sean was the muscle. He was the muscle.
There was only and there were
was
some
the
hot
muscle.
chicks in it too. So.
I mean, his freshman year, he was a stick. He was just a pure
Oh my
stick
gosh.
his freshman year. He had
Yeah.
he had nothing going. By the time he was a senior, he was the Will Smith of Sevier County over here. So
And put a lot of gym time in.
Oh man, yeah. I quit dance. There was a lot of drama at my dance studio, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I quit dance and went into drama club because I never had time to do like any school activities when I was dancing, because I would be at the studio.
right.
Basically, as soon as I got out of school, I would go straight to the studio, and I was there until 9:30 every night. And so when I quit dance, I was like, oh my gosh, I can actually do like school activities. So I joined the drama club. I co-directed a play.
Oh wow!
That was
Yes.
cool. And acted in it. Not
Oh.
well.
What play? What play? What play
God,
was it?
I can't remember.
No, mine was Bye Bye Birdie. So I remember
We
mine.
did not do Bye Bye Birdie. I know that much. Our school could
Yeah.
not afford to pay for actual legitimate plays.
I didn't know. Our school probably didn't pay for it. They probably just printed it off the internet. I mean, Podunk, Utah. Nobody's gonna come here and be like,
What
"Hey,
are
you
saying,
can't
like
do
they
that."
couldn't pay for it because of like copyright stuff?
Yeah, like the school has to pay
They
to
gotta
use
pay.
those.
Yeah, it's like
that
copyright
stuff. Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, the LLC.
And I'm pretty sure ours did
Yeah,
Bye
I'm
Bye
sure.
Birdie because it's so old. It was probably cheap
Yeah.
as crap.
Open source.
Yeah, it's not like you're doing Cats or something. You know what I mean?
open source because it's like gone.
Sean,
so
Cats is a Broadway show. They do
I know.
Broadway. It's called
We're
Cats.
talking, we're talking about what'd you call it? What'd you say? Open source.
That's not the right term
No,
for
there's
it.
something-
Public domain.
Yeah,
That's what
public
it is.
domain. So she's talking about public domain because like after so many years, if it's so
Yeah.
old, then you don't have to buy the.
Right, like Seven
Yeah.
Wives or Seven Brothers, that kind of old stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
But yeah,
So we did a couple just like never heard of them before. Like it was, but it was fun.
But you wrote one.
I didn't write it. I directed it.
Directed it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. That'd be fun too.
It was.
Did you direct anything, Vinny?
No, I was just like I didn't even make it as a I was like a second hand or whatever you call it cast member.
Were you a tree?
I was a dancer with the. It's not elementary school, bro.
I think.
But
dude,
no.
I think. I don't think I did. I think I went in to the drama to see like what plays and stuff. And then as I sat there and they have to go over all the lines and try to memorize all the lines, stuff like that, I just was like, I don't think I can do that.
I tried out. I didn't make it, but
because the memorization stuff. But I guess maybe now as I think of it, because I'm super good at like, if it's a movie, I can memorize a movie. I wish everything was learned like a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or for some people, I don't know. It could probably be different for you or something. But like, I could watch a movie if it's a good movie, even if it's a crap movie. I feel like I still, for some reason, am able to remember lines on it and parts on it, and basically I could tell you the movie from start to end. But like if I was to take a play or something like that and have to read through it, be like, okay, here's your parts, memorize these, I'd be like, oh shit, like, can you give it to me in a movie? And then like I can be that person.
You know, a play is just like a real life movie, right?
Correct, but I would need I would need to watch the movie and then see like what parts were mine, and then it would be like, well, I'm just gonna wait.
Sean would be Hessey would be more ad lib. He'd be a lot of ad lib. Like he could do a total movie. He could ad lib. But if you do a play and you got to wait for somebody to finish their line before you start your line, like I think that's, and I agree with him 100%. You're thinking of their line so much that when they stop, there's gonna be like probably a 5-second pause. Be like, oh, it's my turn. Like that's where you're like, okay. Yeah,
like,
I'm trying to go through
the movie in my head. And then
but if you can ad lib it, you can do it.
I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So you just want to be like Zach Galifianakis, just improv all your lines all the time.
Perfect.
Yeah, Will Ferrell, all those guys. Yeah, Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I'll be down with that.
All right, so after high school,
so we just got in a yearbook. What page did you do in yearbook?
Oh, I was the editor in chief.
Oh,
yes.
Vinny, were you at?
Yeah, I was the editor of the yearbook.
Oh gosh, dang it!
I did all the pages.
Okay, but let's go. What year were you, Vinny? What year were you the editor of your yearbook?
It would have been 95, 96.
Oh man.
See that?
Do you even want to know what years I was the editor?
We got to talk about age difference here.
I was the editor from 2008 to 2009.
There you go. Dang.
Oh, we're old, bro.
I already had. Well, I had 3 kids by 2008.
I was just getting my license and getting pulled over on the way to school.
Yeah, you were probably getting pulled over while he was in there calving out, watching a kid, another kid calved out, second one out.
Third. 2008 was third.
There's Ellia just getting pulled over first time. Just got her license. Oh boy, that's a rough crowd there.
Holy cow!
So then we went. Sorry, there was a fire call coming.
See, this is where his brain doesn't work just to flow through things. He's got to have stuff written down.
There was a fire call. So
fire call.
Monitoring the fire call here, see what it was. So
you can know Hessey's a volunteer firefighter. It's not like he talks about it all the time.
Yeah. I know. She's making it up. I only use it at the gym to get out.
We're 48 episodes in. I'm pretty sure it's been brought up a few times.
Aaliyah's new, and so she really hammers me at the gym, and so I use the fire calls so I can get out of working out with her.
Yeah, he claims there's fire calls so he doesn't have to do yoke holds with me.
Yeah.
He likes yoke holds. Trust me, he loves yoke holds.
I gotta
now,
go.
If there were burpees,
save lives.
If there was more than 20 burpees, he's out.
Yeah. Choose wisely which ones that I'm not gonna pick. Yeah. No, we did yoke holds. Wait, we do the yoke holds. All right, so we go through yearbook. And then now we're hitting college because you're smart. So here we go, UC Davis.
Yep, went to UC Davis.
I don't know where that is.
It's in Davis, California.
Okay.
It's right outside of Sacramento.
Okay, so a little bit northern or central?
It's like northern central California. So
the nice part. The nice part of California. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
That's
where
nice.
we grew up.
No.
Went to UC Davis.
What did you go for?
ROTC. So I started out as a molecular biology major.
Jeez, I'm out.
And
Wait, you gotta do math?
Wait,
Wait, is there math involved? Because I'm out. Wait, did you use a calculator? And they didn't have Chat GBT or whatever, Siri and all that stuff.
The difference is when I went to college, we had calculators versus when you went to college, it was probably like an abacus.
No, I didn't go to college.
Well, it would have been an abacus.
Yeah.
Sean, Sean, let me ask you this: do you know what an abacus is? Okay, just checking.
Do you?
Yeah, I knew what it was.
He didn't know. Yeah, he just looked it up.
I didn't look it up. I got notes on my phone. I didn't look. I knew what it was.
He tried to get me with the abacus.
I'd probably use the abacus before he would.
For sure. Yeah.
But I started out molecular biology. I was pre-med. My plan was to go to med school after college. I got through, I think, my sophomore year and went through organic chemistry. Almost failed organic chemistry. Had a quarter life crisis, maybe, at 20 years old.
I feel like probably
Yeah.
being that kind of school and going for medical stuff, I think that's probably.
I mean,
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty
that's
typical.
a lot of pressure. Yeah.
And then decided.
All that math.
Yeah. Well, so I decided to change my major from molecular biology to neurobiology because for the neurobiology degree, you didn't have to take physical chemistry. And after organic chemistry, I wanted nothing to do ever again with chemistry. So I switched to neurobiology so that I didn't have to take physical chemistry.
Neurobiology, is that the brain?
Yes.
So what were you looking at, like going into?
I wanted to be a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
And for a while, I wanted to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. I did a internship program through the UC Davis Medical Center where I got to shadow different surgical teams. It was like a 4 or 6 month program, something like that.
So did you get to go in there and see them do it?
Yeah, I got to be in the operating room. I watched an above the knee amputation. I watched a pediatric heart surgery, open heart surgery. I watched what else did I see? I don't know. I saw a lot of stuff.
Brain stuff?
I saw brain surgery.
Okay. So on some of them, is this a thing? Like I've seen on some where they stay awake.
Yeah.
Is that is that because they don't want to they want to make sure they're not like cutting something out or doing something that is causing them to stop something else?
Yeah, I think for some brain surgeries that is the case where the patient has to stay awake to make sure that they're in the right spot and, like you said, not like hitting something.
So like the left side. So the left side of their face is they want to make sure that they're not cutting the wrong nerves and stuff like that, right? To make sure that they're working in the right area.
I feel that's like but what happens if you do it?
Well, but I think sometimes they have to stay awake because, like, what they're trying to do or trying to fix, they need the patient awake to make sure that it's working.
Oh, I got you. Like, can you feel your left foot now? They're like, yep. Sweet, you got it. That's weird, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine that's crazy. Like, I've seen brains, but they're usually out of the skull by the time I get there. But
there's that firefighter stuff again.
That's cool. Okay, so intern went through that, and now.
Yep. So after I graduated from college, So I did ROTC while I was an undergrad, and I commissioned into the California Army National Guard after I graduated. I was a medical service officer, and I was planning on taking a year to study for the MCAT, take the MCAT, apply to med school. And I had asked one of my professors for a letter of recommendation when I applied to med school, and she offered me a job in her research lab. She had a neurobiology research lab, and I had never done research before, but I was like, hey, that's cool. I need money to pay rent, so
nice.
Let's do it. So I started working in her research lab, and we studied synaptic development in autism and schizophrenia. So that was my first experience in scientific research, and I worked in her lab for 3 years. During that time, I applied to med school. I took out a loan to apply to med school. It was about a little under $5,000. I applied to 42 or 43 med schools.
Wait, is that because you got to pay to apply?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you have to pay twice. You have to pay for your primary application, and then you have to pay again for your secondary application.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So applied to 40-something med schools. Didn't get in anywhere. Didn't even get an interview anywhere.
So what? Okay. So what? I guess my question would be, you're putting in the application. So is it like a job? Like they go through all your credentials and they're like, oh yeah, well this person. Do they look at like previous schooling?
Yeah.
Scores,
so they look at your grades. They look at your test scores. They look at your extracurriculars. You have to answer a bunch of essay questions. Like, it's a whole process.
Just because I feel like they'd be like, sure, come on in, pay us. Pay us to come to our school.
Well, med schools, like the number of applicants that they get every year is like astronomical.
Yeah. Okay.
And basically, if you don't have a 4.0 and perfect test scores and a bunch of extracurriculars, like president of this club and volunteer community service, all that stuff. If you
Your book editor didn't get you anything?
Dude, yeah, what's going on with that? Dude,
man.
Your book editor and drama. Dude. I feel like, I was out like in the first one.
Yeah, I didn't have the best grades in college. I think I graduated with like a 3.6 or a 3.7.
God, it's terrible.
And like, if you don't have a 4.0,
yeah, I mean,
med schools won't even look
I mean,
at you.
What a joke.
I had a 3.9999. They were like, no.
I thought we were bringing smart people on here. 3.7.
Oh
Jeez.
Anyway, so
you want to hear a little saying?
Yeah.
That I always tell my daughter. So
C's get degrees.
She just definitely not get it from her dad. She's a straight A student. And I'm not tooting my own horn, nothing. It has nothing to do with me. But when she goes through her score stuff, I'll tell her, be like, you know what they don't like giving out? And she'll be like, Dad, I know, D-. So I'm like, that's right. You know how hard it is to get a D-. And dude, so because I told her, I'm like, joking with her, like, that's what Dad got. Like, that's a tough one. They don't like giving those out. And so when she's telling me her report card with her A's, then I'll be like, yeah, and then she's like, I know, Dad. So, yeah, all right, that's I just wanted to step that in there. They don't like giving those out. I bet you never got one.
I've never got a D.
I know, minus.
Never got a D. Never got a D-.
Dude, that's like playing with fire, right? That's like roulette. You gotta be. I'll bet Vinny never even got one. Look at the percentage. It's probably easier to get an A than a D-. I'm just saying.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so 3.7. Here we go. Moving on.
So I didn't get into med school.
Can't get you into Harvard or wherever good med schools at.
But through, having to answer 40 plus times, why do you want to be a doctor? I was like, wow, maybe I don't actually want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just like, when I was a kid, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the options that everybody knows as a kid is like doctor, astronaut, president,
lawyer.
What else is there?
Athlete.
Yeah.
Athlete, lawyer.
Did anything? Did it like bother you? Did anything bother you as in like blood, guts? Gore?
So not originally, but the older I've gotten, the more squeamish I've gotten.
Okay.
Like I was able to stand in the operating room when I was going through that internship program and watch these surgeries, no problem. And now, like, somebody starts bleeding and I get a little nauseous.
Oh. So now, does it do the same effect on yourself? You know,
Yeah.
some people don't like seeing their own blood.
Yeah, I freak out. Yeah.
Okay.
I like when I get blood drawn, I have to lay down. And I've actually passed out from getting blood drawn.
Oh, okay, so it's big. So yeah, so apparently God was watching out for you. He's like, yeah, you probably better not be a surgeon, because when you would have been full into it.
Yep.
30 years old, be like, best surgeon ever, be like, yeah, but I can't deal with the blood.
But yeah, so realized that I didn't actually want to be a doctor. It was just kind of in my head from the time I was young, and I never really considered anything else. So then I was working in the research lab, and I was like, well, research is pretty fun. Maybe I'll do this. And so I decided to apply to grad school. So I think at this point I had been in the lab for about 2 years. I applied to grad school. I applied to 7 schools, I think. And I didn't get an interview at any except one. And I ended up getting accepted to Princeton.
Okay.
Rejected by every other school I applied to, but I got accepted to Princeton for grad school.
Yeah, and
seriously, that's like what one of the top 3
prestige,
schools in the country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not get to that one?
It's like, yeah, 3.7, we'll take her. It's fine.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, in 2016, I moved to New Jersey to start grad school at Princeton, and I was in a PhD program for neuroscience, and I was there for about 2.5 years, finished my master's degree. So when you start grad school, you have to get through your general exams, and once you pass your general exams, then you're considered a PhD candidate and you're eligible to apply for an incidental master's degree. So once I passed my general exams, I applied for my incidental master's degree, got my master's in neuroscience, and then quit grad school because I hated it.
And you're still doing the guard at this time, right?
Yes, so I transferred from the California Guard to the New Jersey Guard. I had transferred into a medical company. I was a platoon leader for a medical treatment platoon. And then after I quit grad school, after I quit grad school, I worked retail for 3 months at a gift shop in downtown Princeton.
There you go. Yeah.
Three whole months. 3 whole months.
3 whole months.
I worked retail. You might have remembered it. It was an old store called Kmart. I worked retail for a couple of years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But it was really funny because people from Princeton would come into this store and they'd be like, aren't you in grad school?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? I'm like, no, I quit.
So do you think that because of you had in your mind to go through grad school, but is it just because once you got in there and started going through, you're like, oh, this ain't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a lifestyle I wanted. I was working out at the time. That's when I basically started discovering CrossFit. And I wasn't doing anything nearly the level of what I do now. Yeah. But I was just I would go take a class for an hour a day. And the people in my program, in my department, they would make me feel guilty for spending an hour at the gym every day because that was an hour that I wasn't in lab doing research. And I basically, the expectation was that you were in lab 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that was your life. And then, my advisor was talking about a work-life balance, but I'm like, you don't have a work-life balance. You have 2 kids that you never see. Yeah. Because you're in lab all day that's not a work-life balance.
Jesus.
So it was just like everybody just felt very disconnected from reality, and I
so like when you say lab, is that just like you're just studying? You just like going over
we would perform experiments, and basically like the point of scientific research is to perform experiments and publish your findings to further the understanding of the field. So for me specifically, I was studying dopamine neurons and how the dopamine system is involved in reward learning. So I would train mice to do a task where they would press a lever to get a sugar water reward. And during that task, I would either record the activity of their dopamine neurons, or I would activate the neurons at specific points during the task, or I would inhibit the neurons at specific points during the task and see how that affected their ability to learn lever gives me sugar water.
So they're all wired up.
Yeah.
You got the little helmets on,
Yeah.
the little wires, and you're zap.
Yeah.
She could probably follow me around all day and be like, oh look, zingers give him like this dopamine. Zingers.
Do you know what a zinger is?
Is that like a thing from the gas station?
Yeah. I think that's where
You can get them at grocery stores too. They're not just gas stations.
It is one.
It's a supercharged Twinkie. It's a supercharged
right?
Twinkie.
Oh, a Twinkie?
It's a Twinkie, dude. Zingers.
So it's a cake, you know. It's got stuffing. It's got icing on the top. You got vanilla icing on top. So it's like a Twinkie with vanilla icing on top. It's supercharged sugar. Yeah. If I make it till 4:30 without running into anybody, you know, I'm doing good on my route, I'll treat myself to a Mountain Dew and a zinger. And they come three in a pack, you know, and I finish off my day, you know, looking good, you know.
Yeah. Yes, I mean it is.
That's my dopamine. I just learned that from her right now.
She'd be zapping you so you don't do it.
Oh,
that's where that would come in. She'd be doing it on her own. Well, I'll show her this because while we're talking about it and your zingers and Mountain Dew. Hey, tell her how much soda you used to drink before we got you. So
before I started CrossFit.
I would help him out with like his food. So and Ellia knows a huge amount. We went to the New Year's party, and it was a charcuterie board. It said like a potluck. I mean, I guess you could say it was a potluck, but it was a charcuterie board. So you wouldn't bring like crock pots or nothing. It was all these different kinds of charcuterie boards. Some were tacos, and some were wings, and there was dessert ones, vegetable ones, the standard, general, normal one. And so I snapped a couple pictures, and I sent them to her while she was in Wadapalooza. Here's this huge bar of charcuterie boards and to eat, and she's over there with her Tupperware with her weighed out food.
Right. Yeah.
So
her food
as an
prep.
athlete,
it's called food prep.
As an athlete, she has to prep and weigh, you know, all the different fats and proteins. So on that note, when Vinny was when he was in his thicker stages and was working into going to be starting to work, he's like, hey, help me out with like what I need to eat and this, that. So we started breaking stuff down, and the ounces of soda that this man drank.
Oh no.
Yeah. Go ahead, buddy. Let her know.
So daily I would do 150 ounces of Mountain Dew, and I would do a cinnamon roll from Maverick every day.
Oh my god.
Every day.
Yeah.
150 ounces.
What the human body can do. First of all, let's put that out there. But I'll show her the picture. I'm showing her the picture for the listeners that Vinny sent me of when he's like
217. I was at 217 at the time of that picture. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's kind of a poor quality because you could that's the years ago that it was the quality of it. But.
And then with the guide of my sponsor, I did drop down. I did get down to like 185 was the lowest I went. I was doing lean meats. I was doing chicken, rice, vegetables every single night. And I just season them differently. I mean, it's basically a rice bowl by the time I was done every night. But I'd use like a barbecue seasoning, or I'd use a lemon seasoning. I just change it up. It was the same thing. I just tried to change it up differently. And then we worked on like craisins.
Well, we had to wean him
Oh,
because he was
soda
like,
was
so this is like
rough. I lost
addicting type stuff. He was
I lost 20 pounds once I stopped drinking the soda.
Yeah, I'm not shocked by that.
Yeah. But it was like the next couple of days, he's like, I can't do it. Like, I can't stop. Like, dude, because it was like he was having a headache. He was having all kinds. So I think, what do? We put you on like green tea or something, so we could keep caffeine.
Yeah.
I went to green tea.
A little bit of sweetener, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, green tea. That's what it was.
Sugar addiction is a real thing.
Oh yeah, 150 ounces of soda. I can't even fathom.
Oh my God, that's
so
wild.
when your dad had you break down the speed limit, how much time saved you? try taking how many ounces of sugar. This will be a fun one for you to do.
Oh God.
Look at the ounces of sugar, right, in like a 12-ounce can. It's like, what, 36 grams or something? Put that into 152 ounces. 150 ounces. This sugar, dude, I did it when I was like messing around, and it's like, it's a bag.
A bag of sugar a day.
I don't know how they melt it down into a can and do it. It's amazing, but yeah. So that's where the soda was pretty wild. But yeah, Vinny's done well on that one. So, National Guard, Princeton, retail. So you're selling jewelry. She's
I worked
Rolexes.
3 months in retail, and basically I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew what I didn't want to do, and that was
because you're probably still like in your mid-20s.
Yeah, 20s. At the time I was 25, maybe.
20s, okay.
And so I worked retail basically as like I've never done this before. Let's see how I like it and like figure out my life.
Yeah.
And then, did we just lose Vinny?
Dude. We'll just keep going with that. So it's funny because you say to try things out like that. Like mine was the exact, not even fun like that. It was like, oh yeah, let's try drywall.
Let's try drywall.
People say, they're like, oh man, you can make really good money doing drywall. Yeah, because you're working your bag off.
Yeah.
But
well, and it's funny because retail, like when I applied to this store, and I had a friend that had worked there previously, so she was like, hey, they're looking to hire for the holidays if you want to do it, because she knew I was looking for something. And when I interviewed with them, they were like, you realize you're very overqualified for this, right? I was like, yeah, I know. And they're like, it's going to be insulting what we're going to pay you to work here.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's okay. I just want to do something different.
Yeah, it's experience.
Yeah. Because I had never done any sort of like retail or hospitality or anything like that. So it was a good opportunity to like see that side of the world of like working with people.
Maybe there's probably, dude, I've met some doctors that probably could have used some retail.
Yeah, honestly.
When they were going to school.
But then about a month or two after I started working there, I found out that I was going to get deployed. So I was only at the retail job for about 3 months, and then I went full-time Army to get ready for the deployment. We spent about a month in Texas doing our pre-mobilization training, and then I spent all of 2019 in Qatar.
Qatar, that's Dubai?
No, Dubai is UAE. Qatar is this little like peninsula off the edge of Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So
How was that? Hot?
It was very hot.
Especially so if you guys, nobody noticed so far that Ellia is redhead, she's a ginger. So us fair skinned folk, Vinny doesn't have this problem. You and I, we have this problem.
Yeah.
You can't be out in the hot in the sun. It scorches us like little lobsters.
Yep.
So yeah, so hot and sunny. Yeah, here we go. Huh?
So it was about 120 degrees every day, 100% humidity, in uniform every day. So I actually ended up, we had a 4-day pass in Texas, and the day after we got back from our 4-day pass was the day that we flew out. And while I was on my 4-day pass, I cut all my hair off.
Oh.
Because I didn't want to deal with it while I was deployed. I didn't want to have to put it in a bun. And
so how did you go? Did you butch it or just like?
It was like an inch long. Yeah. So I had a pretty gnarly afro for a while. It was not a good look.
She's got some hair. Like we were in the gym working out this morning, and it was like she'd take off on a sprint, come back, and she couldn't keep it in. When she does handstand walks, I'm worried she's just like gonna stomp, like she's gonna step. I guess would you say step on your hair, handstand walk on your hair? So was there like mixed when you come into that? You're in the Army, and now you got a buzz cut. Like how'd that go? Did you get hit on by chicks?
Actually, yes.
I'm not being like. I'm just thinking like, okay, so now we're.
She's like Demi Moore. She looks like Demi Moore out there.
We got G.I. Jane going on.
Oh my gosh, no!
G.I. Jane going on.
Yeah.
It was not a good look at all, and I will never do it again. But it was really nice not having to deal with my hair.
I could only imagine that amount of hair you have in 120 degree with 100% humidity.
It was disgusting.
Boy, you would have been doing it over there, anyways.
But with your hair that short, I mean, you're putting sunscreen on your scalp because
we wear a patrol cap.
Yeah.
Scalp is covered.
Well, yeah, but you didn't. Was it buzzed? Like what? Like you went with a guard, like a.
No, it wasn't buzzed. It was it was longer than that, but it was maybe like an inch long.
Yeah.
An inch.
So you probably weren't gonna get sunburned.
No.
There was plenty of hair still. Not like us, bro. Yeah.
We got nothing.
Vinny's got like. So like I always joke with
Olive?
my mom.
It's called Olive.
I always joke with my mom that I'm not part of the family. Like they found me. Like,
He's adopted.
He's adopted. I think I always joke. My mom tell her I was stolen. Like they found me on like the church doorstep or the fire. You know, used to because you can go and drop them off there. Because I'm not anything like these guys. They all have dark, as you can see, dark coarse hair. If you're watching on the video, Vinny's got dark coarse hair, and mine's not. It's brown, light, thin. You know, like thinner hair. I have blue eyes. None of them have blue eyes. And then Vinny is, what do you call it? Olive skin?
I would say.
He looks like a
Mexican. I tan really well.
At least half of his body. If he's
farmer. It's a farmer's tan. It's definitely a farmer.
If he doesn't get it together in the summertime, he's like two-tone. So like his left side is tan because he drives for UPS. So that side's out the door all the time.
Yeah,
that's true.
I don't know what it means to tan. I just burn.
Yeah, you and me both. It goes red.
We burn and then it freckles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Kisses from the sun.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, the burn will turn into a tan. I'm like, no, the burn peels and I'm even paler than I was before.
I'm like a snake.
Yeah.
You just lose a layer and there it is, all fresh, nice and white.
Yeah.
I can't even be in the sun anymore. We gotta stay out of that one.
No, he's got some kind of disease.
Thanks, bud.
I can't even remember what it's called right now.
Well, that's really
I'm trying to think of what it's called. I apologize. I apologize.
Wait, what are you drinking too, by the way? What is that blue one? That's new.
This blue one is a new one. I tried it today. It's called Monaco Blue Crush. It's vodka, tequila, gin, and rum cocktail.
Vodka, tequila, gin, and rum.
It seems like it's not
9%.
I guess you're mixing clears, I suppose.
That just seems excessive.
Yeah, it's about,
it is excessive.
Because
I mean,
he's not drinking water out of that thermal cup either.
No, the thermal cup is cut water.
Yeah.
I just barely picked them up. So the difference, Ellia, is in Utah, you have to go to a liquor store to buy any hard alcohol.
That's how it was in New Jersey.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like here you can get Arnold Palmer's beer, Mike's hard lemonade, stuff like that. Mike's hard stuff. You can get all that at a grocery store. But if you want to get actual like vodka, tequila, Captain Morgan, Jack, any of that kind of stuff, you have to go to a state-sponsored a building and buy it. And then after 8 o'clock on Saturday night, they're shut down until 2.
Yeah, I learned a little bit about the liquor laws in Utah when I was there a couple years ago. I did a cross country. I was in Salt Lake and Park City. Oh, he's gone again.
It's got booty internet. It's terrible. I was watching it about to see if it goes off, because you'll see he was at like 44 on the upload, and then we lose him. He'll come back. So you were in Salt Lake for what competition?
It wasn't a competition. I was driving from California to New Jersey. So after my deployment, during my deployment, I lost my apartment in New Jersey because I was living with my sister and her husband before I left, and then they both got jobs in Manhattan and moved to New York. Okay. So they put all my stuff in storage and left the apartment, and then my brother-in-law was using my car, but once they moved to Manhattan, they didn't need a car anymore, so I told them to just sell my car.
So when you got deployed to Qatar?
Yes.
And then you stayed there the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long was that?
I was in Qatar for 9 months.
9 months, okay.
And then when I came back, I didn't have an apartment and I didn't have a car, so I went back to California and stayed with my parents for a couple months while I found a new place to live. I bought a car in California, and then I drove from California to New Jersey to move back to New Jersey.
You put on here, you've driven a few times from coast to coast.
Yeah.
That's a long haul.
Yeah. When I first moved to New Jersey, I drove California to New Jersey. Me, my dad, and my 2 cats in a Nissan Sentra.
There we go. That's it.
And that was 4.5 day drive. That was get there as fast as possible. And then the second time was after my deployment, when I went back to California, bought a new car there, and then I was moving back to New Jersey, but I wanted to take my time this time, so I turned it into a CrossFit road trip.
Okay.
And I planned my route based on gyms that I wanted to drop into.
Nice.
So I actually dropped into Power Stroke here, and that was the first time I ever met Sean. He coached the class that I took.
How long ago was that?
That was at the beginning of 2020, right before COVID.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then I also went through Utah. I stayed in Salt Lake, and I dropped in a gym in Park City, and I had gone to like a brewery. Wow, I can't say that word right now.
Brewery?
Brewery.
What are you drinking?
Brewery.
I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was talking to them about, like, they were telling me about the liquor laws and everything in Utah. They were like, yeah, liquor stores close at like 7 p.m. and you can't do a free pour in Utah. Like, all the bars have those little
measures.
Yeah.
On the top. Yeah.
I was like, dang, that's wild.
Because you legit only get one shot.
Yeah.
Not like Nevada, the Wild West. It's crazy.
But
sometimes you get a bartender
Jersey,
that'll overfill it. She'll overfill, they'll overfill it a little bit, let it spill out. But it's
well,
minuscule.
What's funny is they still have to pump it. It fills once, and then they pour it, and they might hit it again or something. But
but New Jersey was not quite as strict as Utah, but they had some pretty crazy liquor laws too. It's really hard to get a liquor license in New Jersey. So most grocery stores don't sell alcohol, gas stations don't sell alcohol, and most restaurants don't sell alcohol. So a lot of the restaurants in New Jersey are BYOB.
Or you can bring your own stuff.
You can bring your own.
Dude,
I had never heard of that before New Jersey, and I was shocked when I found that out.
Till now. Utah should get on board with that business.
I think they should do. BYOB. Yeah, bring your own stuff. Yeah,
because Utah, I don't know if it's still the same way. They are also, I think they can serve beer, right? Or do they have to have a liquor license for that?
No, I think they can still do beers. They can do anything basically that you can get from a gas station or grocery store. Like, they're still okay with that. But once it gets up out of the 3.2% or whatever the beer is, once you get up into the higher percentage, then you're getting a liquor license. Yeah. So
it turns what they call them, spirits.
Well, what's weird is you can go to a grocery store, you can get an Arnold Palmer. You can get Arnold Palmer and those mics, and they're 5% at the gas station or even your grocery stores. But then you can't get then you have to go to the liquor store to get the other stuff. But our liquor store won't do like Arnold Palmer's or Mike's or anything like that because they're available. So basically they carry everything that's not available in other, grocery stores or convenience stores. So I don't know. I don't know the rules. I just buy what I can when I can. So move on.
Just drink whatever.
Yeah, my alarm on Saturday goes off at 5 o'clock and says, hey, do you have all your stuff you need for, the weekend for Sunday football? And I'm like, no, babe, we need to go to the liquor store. And so we
I've
make
never
that
heard
run.
of somebody having an alarm for the
I don't have an alarm. I'm just kidding. Good heck.
I remember when we were kids, when we were growing up through high school, you had to do it it would be like at the end, because they still now, right? They still stop selling it.
I don't. There are counties that do. There are dry counties on Sunday and stuff like that they'll lock up the coolers of beer and stuff like that on Sundays. I don't know of what those. I don't know which ones those are, but we don't have that here in Sevier County. No.
Well, it used to when because we would be partying, and when it come to midnight, or it was right before midnight, you'd have to find somebody old enough and have to go do a beer run.
We had to do that in college.
Yeah. So you get it restocked up before. Yeah, Vinny, I'd be hitting him up, be like, I need you to go get some. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how that stuff works across there. So that's cool. It's crazy that you were here in 2020.
2020.
At CrossFit Power Stroke.
Yep.
That's probably, yeah. I don't know. Probably I wasn't doing classes then, so unless you came at 3, kind of the same time. Or I may have been a 5 a.m.er.
I think I came to the 8:30 class.
Oh, yeah. The soccer moms.
Yeah. It was a great time.
Yeah. So Vinny now is a coach, CrossFit coach.
Oh, hell yeah.
So he does he works out he's a 5 a.m.er, so he goes, I give him credit for that because I did it for a while, and now that I don't know that I'd ever go back.
I used to work out at 6 a.m. every day for years,
it's rough.
And now I'm I don't know how I ever did that.
Yeah, I don't even like going in and working out at 8. And on a Saturday, I'm shooting for that 9. I went on the 8 o'clock. I'm 5 not even warmed up. So he goes at the 5 and then coaches the 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not quite as intense as our stuff. They did do Cowboy Way for a minute.
Oh, that's
we
cool.
did. We did.
He had the gym doing it, and they liked it, but he's the manager or whatever is kind of a pain in the butt on that.
Because we were only running the Cowboy Way at 6 a.m. Like the guys that I had there, I only had maybe 14. So I had about 14 people in my class, and then anybody that would drop in on the 6 o'clock class, they were like, "Oh, we can't make it to 9. We'll come to 6." So I don't know what happened, but it was kind of like we want everybody to be on the same programming, and I was like, well, and then it just kind of went downhill from there. But yeah, so I started working out at 5 so I can coach the 6 o'clock class, and then now we do the WOD of the day at 5, and we've actually switched over to our programming for the bodybuilding, which technically is kind of what you guys do with your Cowboy Way. You have your WOD, you have your strength, and then you guys actually do another WOD. But we do a WOD at 5, and then those people are staying now until my 6 o'clock class, and then we're just doing the bodybuilding part of it. So we're kind of carrying a 5 and 6 o'clock class for 2 hours. So it's working out pretty
cool.
good. Yeah, but 5 o'clock is early. It is early.
Yeah. That's gnarly. Yeah. So then, all right. So then, Ellia, we have now moved. You were in New Jersey.
Yep.
Okay, can I ask her a question since we brought that up real quick?
Sure.
So we've started doing the sauna. We do a 20-minute sauna every day. So we do the 5 o'clock workout. Some of the people just show up at 6 to do the bodybuilding because they're not all about cardio. Like nobody, we got a couple people who are just like, I'm not doing the cardio. So they come and do the bodybuilding. It says bodybuilding on the program, but we run it like a circuit. Like we have different stations, and we do the bench, and then we do the incline bench, and we do dumbbells. So we just kind of rotate around it. And then at about 6:40, we all, there's guys that go in the sauna. What is your thoughts on sauna and cold plunge?
Oh, I love them. Well, I don't love the cold plunge. I love what it does for me.
Yeah, I don't think anybody loves the cold plunge. Hessey over there tried to cold plunge in his tub, and he was screaming like a little girl, but
I really messed up on it. I did it wrong.
How did you do it wrong?
I put way too much ice in there. And so
on his first attempt,
first time doing it, like cold plunge just started coming. This is probably like a year ago. It was like when we started the podcast. Right when we started.
Right around there.
So they're like, oh, the cold plunge is the thing. So in Alexa's bathroom, we have an oversized tub so I can fit in it if ever I wanted to take a bath. And so I fill it up with cold water, which is coming from the city, so you're probably 55 something. I think Jake, he measured, it's like in the 50s. And then I took and put 40 pounds of ice in it. And then I was like, okay, well, this is cold plunge. They say you got to plunge in the cold water. And so it hurt so bad that it ruined it forever. I mean, I've still done it, but I felt like I did it too, like it was borderline. I had to be in the 30s by then, like, because when I sat down in it, I had to like wiggle around because I was sitting on ice. Like it was thick enough. I was in it.
He had to work it in that butt crack.
I had to keep it out of the bubble. I didn't want an ice cube going where it shouldn't be going. Oh my
God. My very first ice bath was at semifinals in 2022. It was Saturday night, and I had one more day of competition. And my coach at the time was like, you have to do an ice bath. Like, I'm not letting you go to bed without doing an ice bath because you need it to survive this last day of competition. Yeah. So she grabbed my cooler and she went to the ice machine in the hotel and she filled it up with ice and she made...
So she's one of those that took all the ice from the ice machine at the hotel.
Yeah.
So the next guy goes out there and, he's like, and nothing comes out. They're like, what the?
Yep, we were those people.
We were that guy, guys, yeah.
Probably about 4 or 5 trips to the ice machine.
Wow.
With my big cooler.
So you're about to 40 pounds?
Yep. Yeah. So it was about, 4 inches of ice in the bathtub. And then a little bit of water.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to do 4 minutes. And I got in and I cried for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And you stayed in it the full 4 minutes on your first attempt.
Yep.
Holy cow! I think polar plunge. I think polar plunge is one of those things you gotta. I think I do a cold shower. Like, I'll turn my water to cold, but no.
I feel like that was worse. I did that. So they're like, oh, if you don't want a cold plunge, like so you take a shower, normal shower, because they say always you end on cold.
Yeah.
You always want. You can go sauna cold, but you always end on cold.
Yeah.
So one of the podcasts are like, well, if you don't want to do it, like, just do it in your shower. And I was like, oh, I could do that, So you take a normal shower, hot shower, and all that stuff, and then you turn it to cold, but you step out of it and you let it run for like 30 seconds so that it's as cold as it can get.
Oh.
And then you get back in it.
No.
But they call it like that brown layer.
Yeah.
Where you're sitting, when you get in the water in your body, it does have heat that's coming off of it, and they say like you should move it around. You don't get that when you just stand in the shower, like, because it's moving across you the whole time. And so I'm just like, it's hitting me in different cold spots, because it's not like just a solid.
Well, also, like, there's something so comforting about a warm shower.
Yeah.
And to ruin that with a cold shower.
I've only done it twice.
Like,
Tasha stood there with the timer. You got to stay for a minute. And now I don't even, she's like, did you cold plunge? I go, no. I'm not doing it. I want to know if there's some science. So here's a question for the listeners and the smart one over here. Is there anything and then you don't have to answer now, but is there anything that's probably beneficial for scalding hot showers? Think about that.
Well, so there is some research that
it's probably bad for me.
No. It's something like people who take hot showers do that because they're lacking physical contact
that's
life?
me for sure. Oh, dude. I'm gonna have to tell Tasha this one. My wife's thinking about this one. Actually, Leah and I are going to go in there and talk to her about this after.
Oh, okay. Like, hey, Hessey's taking all these hot showers because he needs more physical contact.
Hey,
that's my love language.
I'm
right
gonna
there,
be honest.
My love language is touchy.
I'm gonna be honest. I've only been here for like a month and a half, and from what I have heard, you guys have plenty of physical contact.
Yeah, and one kid to show for it.
Yeah, a lot of practice. Let's move it on.
Well, like when I did my shower, I started a normal shower, and then I turned it down to cold. So
you're standing in it.
I was standing in it. I slowly worked it down.
Yeah. So
and
the next one, just crank it down to cold. And stand out of it, and then you have to just get in it.
I don't need to do that. I'm not a CrossFit athlete. I'm not competing. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm going to work.
But no, that's not true. We did do a competition.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, you want to come down to Utah? There's a competition." And this, that, and the other, and I was like, okay, like I was just getting into. Well, I had been into CrossFit for a little while.
You had. I'd only been in it for like a month.
Yeah, he wanted to do it, and he almost died.
It was we did the Festivus Games. We did the one called the Festivus Games. That was a partner one, and then they had a Thankful Throwdown in Cedar City. They do one on Thanksgiving. They do it for Thanksgiving, and all the people that come to watch, they donate food. Just that's their payment to watch. You know, you don't pay to watch the competition. You donate food, canned food, stuff like that. And then that was in November. That was in November. So I started in April, and then we did a competition like in June or July. And then when you came down for Thanksgiving, that's when we went to Cedar to do the Thankful Throwdown. And I'm still recovering from that one.
So there was a picture somebody took, and he's kneeled down, and his hands on he's leaning on the box, and his coach is pointing over somewhere because he's looking for his puffer. He has asthma.
I have asthma.
And I'm standing there, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm stepping over. It looks like I'm disgusted with it.
Yeah, he's looking at.
I was.
It looks like he's looking at me like, "What are you doing?"
Looking at him like,
let's go.
I was just like, dude, what's happening? But it was just it was a picture that was taken at the wrong time.
The darkness had calmed down to the little tiny circle, and it was
boy.
It was a rough one. Hey, we won, so I mean, it is
Let's
what it
go.
is.
Yeah, we did win.
You're an athlete.
He was an athlete. We won that one, and I think we got second or third on the Festivus Games.
We did get third. I think we got third on the Festivus Games, yeah. And we had pull-ups. So I had to learn how to do pull-ups from April to like June. And in CrossFit terms, you're supposed to be able to do 10 strict pull-ups before you even start kipping. And my coach and a box owner at the time, I asked him if Hessey could be my partner, and he was like, "No, he's too elite." And I'm like, "Yeah, but he's so elite, and I'm so in negative here. Like, can we just work this out?" And he was like, after like 2 months, I think he was like, "Okay, you can have your brother. You guys can do the." We didn't do the RX version. We did like the RX2 version. But he was just like, I'm like, that's all I can get. And so I was able to string, I think, 9 kipping pull-ups at the time. Like on a fresh. When I was fresh, I could do 9. So we had to do like pull-ups while one guy was rowing or something like that. You had to keep. That's how the partner worked out. And he was like, "Dude, as long as you can do 3, then we'll be able to bust through it." And we went through that one. Okay, I felt like we did all right. I mean, the Thankful Throwdown down in Cedar was the one that almost killed me.
Okay, so what you're telling me is you have done 2 competitions as a CrossFit athlete, and in both of those competitions you have podiumed.
I've actually done 3 because I did a Thankful Throwdown with another guy a couple years later.
Did you guys finish on the podium?
Yeah, we podiumed on that one. Yeah.
See, he's an athlete.
You might be the most successful athlete out of all 3 of us.
I don't know. It's. I mean, I don't think I've done. I don't even know. we did do the RX version the last time Ryan Hawley and I did, and we practiced because you had to do burpee box jump overs, and when we got there they switched it to burpee box step overs, so they wouldn't allow you to jump. Like you had to step on it, and we practiced doing the jumping. And so then trying to get into that, when they switch things on you and trying to do stuff differently, it kind of messes you up. But we were able to do it. When Sean and I did it, or for your case, Hessey, because you guys have two Seans over there. It's hard.
Like who?
You got Hessey and you got Sweeney, and, that kind of thing. But when Hessey and I did ours, the guy that was our judge came over to us later, and he was like, "We ran out of paper. Like they only had so many. They only had so many rounds on their judging sheet." And he was like, "You
guys broke the workout."
Yeah, we pretty much did. And Hessey was pretty upset with me at first because I went and signed us up, and I signed us up in the first round. Like I signed us up, and I told him we're going first round, and he was like, "Dude, like we got to do like second or third round. Like we got to." So we kind of went out and he went out and set the standard, and I just tried to keep up, but.
I was like, dude, we don't even know what we got to beat.
So it was supposed to be overhead squats. It was supposed to be an overhead squats, but like 2 weeks before the competition, they switched it to front squats on the RX2 version, and he can do overhead squats no problem. At the time, I worked on overhead squats so we could do the competition, and then they switched it to front squats. So we had to do, like, I would do a burpee box jump, he would do a burpee box jump, then I would do 2, and then he would do 2. And we had 10 minutes to build that up as high as we could. So we went back and forth, and that's where I almost died. And then he would do front squats, and it was 95-pound front squats. And like for him at the time, like, and even now, I mean, that's his warm-up weight. But he would do like 10, and then I did 10, and then we got to the point where he's looking at me and he's yelling at me in my face, telling me, "Just do 1." Because I had to at least do 1 before he could do more. So he was yelling at me. He's like, "Just do 1." And then I start doing, I just start going.
He didn't do 1. He didn't do 1. He was like, just started hammering more.
He started hammering out.
All right, cool, whatever.
And then he goes, "Fine, just die then." I mean, I remember that while.
Just die then.
So this leads into, remember when we were talking about the gym, we were talking about the CrossFit stereotypes?
Yeah.
Where it's like your coach tells you, goes over the whole workout, and you're like, "Wait, what are we doing?" Or it goes, breaks it all down, and is like, "Hey, you're supposed this is what I want you to do. This many reps for this many rounds," and they're like, "Okay, cool." And then they start the workout, and you don't do any of it. You don't break it up like you're supposed to. You're just like going full tilt. We were talking about the gym with the stereotypes, like CrossFit stereotypes. That's exactly what it was. It was like, I'm like, just do 1. And then she'd like to give him a break.
Yeah.
So then I would go, and then he could go more than it, and then he'd just like start going like whatever or die.
And at that point, then he posted on Facebook with that picture that he was talking about. He says, "This is where we almost lost Vinny, but for real, we almost lost Vinny." And yeah, so he's got that built into me through CrossFit that I can go do the workouts and we can practice and do all that kind of stuff, but in the three or four competitions that I have done, I actually have done 4. It's a completely different mindset. Like you can practice, and like he said, you can sit there and be like, "Okay, I'm going to break this down. I'm not going to redline. I'm not going to blow myself out." And then once the competition, they say go, like all that's out the window. Like I don't know how to. I don't know. I've done pretty good.
Competing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Competing is a learned skill. It's like we were talking about with your workout the other day, like managing your clock is a learned skill. There's a lot in CrossFit beyond just working out that becomes a learned skill. Like for me, being at Wadapalooza last weekend and working out in the rain, I feel like working out in the rain is a learned skill, and I haven't learned that skill yet, and so I got my ass handed to me during that workout at Wadapalooza.
Well, I mean, it's rain is way different, you know, especially, or then like he was saying, because in Wadapalooza when it started raining, they changed your
Yeah, they changed the workouts. And like you said, it sucks when they change things last minute, but that's also just another part of CrossFit is like you got to be able to adapt. They say you got to be prepared for the unknown and the unknowable. And like everybody's got a plan, but when things change, everybody's in the same spot. Mm-hmm. Like there's nobody who is like practicing the change ahead of time.
Oh, well, let's practice for if it gets messed up.
Yeah. So everybody's in the same boat, and like you're all on a level playing field. So you're all just figuring it out as you go.
Yeah. We went to Wadapalooza. Gosh, it was a couple of years ago. It was like I think Sweeney went to it, and there was a team. Chuck, there was a 3-man team that went from the gym. That was pretty cool. Well, okay, so we have gotten into, you've driven all over the place. Wait, let's talk about Paris. You went to Paris. You said you traveled all over the state, U.S. And what did you go to Paris for? Just for vacation?
No, I actually went to Paris while I was in grad school. It was for a conference. Okay. It was the first annual meeting of the International Brain Lab. Okay. Which was basically, I don't know if it's still around, it probably is, but it was at the time, about maybe 16 different research universities across the world, and we were all running the same behavioral task, but studying different parts of the brain, and basically like trying to understand more of like the whole brain concept instead of just like little bits and pieces here and there. And so the very first conference for that was in Paris. So I got to go to Paris funded by my grad program.
That's not a bad gig right
Yeah,
there.
it was pretty cool. So the conference was like 3 days, and then I stayed for an extra couple days afterward because it was my first time out of the country. Yeah. And I had some friends from my gym back in New Jersey who apparently just love Paris and they go whenever they can. So they were like, yeah, we'll meet you there. So I was there for the first couple days for the conference, and then after the conference was over, I had about a day on my own, and then my friends showed up, and then they were there for a couple days with me afterward. It was really cool.
That's way cool. Yeah, it's funny because we were, when you put that on Paris, we had Tasha likes to travel.
Yeah.
And so we were planning a trip this year. We do, like last year we did a missions trip to Jamaica, and then so this year we'll just do like our family little trip, and then we'll do another missions trip the following in 2025. So we had gone to Scotland.
Oh, that's cool.
A couple years ago we went, and then so this one we're like, oh, let's go to Paris. So Tasha starts going through and looking up all her stuff on Paris and all this stuff, and then she's like, we can't go to Paris. I'm like, what? It's the Olympics.
Oh.
So she's like, I mean, we could have went, but it'd just be slammed.
Insane,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because like, I guess during that time they're preparing for it, so everybody travels there.
Yeah.
And is like contractors and just everything is all
done
up
so kind of wild. While I was deployed in Qatar, that's when they were building all the stadiums for the World Cup.
Okay.
Because they had the World Cup in Qatar.
Yeah.
Like a year or two after that.
Yeah.
And it was very similar. A lot of people were traveling there, like in prep for the World Cup.
That's awesome. You know what they do? I don't know if you were by there. They also do Formula One.
Yeah.
In Qatar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. We rent that. We pay for the subscription and watch it for the season. Yeah, I do. It's or not. And you know what did it? Netflix.
Yeah.
Drive
to Survive.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's funny because one of the things that a lot of people are talking about in CrossFit is CrossFit needs something like Drive to Survive to get people, people outside of CrossFit, getting them knowing about the athletes, learning about the athletes, actually investing in the athletes and the sport.
Yeah. It works, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened. They did it for that one. They've done it for Prime, Coach Prime. They put that series out.
Well, and it's like cool. UFC, like The Ultimate Fighter. the Ultimate Fighter series got people caring about the UFC.
Yeah. They're doing one now with soccer. Or no, rugby. Rugby's doing one on Netflix now. Comes out Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like I think there's like 6 teams, 6 contact 6 or something like that. But
that's cool.
I just saw. Hey, welcome back, Vinny.
I don't even want to talk about it.
So I love it, dude. I love that this happens.
No, I hate that this happens.
Golly.
I mean,
the last one I had to cut it up so much. We just kind of. Luckily, I have Ellia here because when this was happening,
it's not
last
dead
week,
air. Yeah.
I'm just like talking, and then if you watch it on the video, like watch the YouTube of last week, I'm just sitting here talking to myself and answering questions that somebody's asking me, but nobody sees him or hears him because he's not there. But I could still hear him and see him, and so it's rough gig,
dude.
All right, well then, let's go into. We'll kind of start wrapping it up. We don't want to keep you here all day.
Can I ask a question?
But
can I ask a question now that I'm back?
No.
That I have actually internet service.
It won't even work.
I mean, nobody's gonna hear it anyway. But I mean, like, what?
That's the thing. So then here's Ellia. She's answering a question that nobody knows.
Right. So I guess maybe she should repeat the question.
It.
Right. Yeah. Repeat the question. So what brought you back? Unless you guys covered it while I was gone, what brought you back to Fallon?
Yeah,
was it
did.
Work? Was it?
We already did. We already talked about it.
Okay, never mind then. All right.
Yeah.
We did.
No, we didn't. I'm
He's
just playing. Let's talk about that because now you're here. What you came from, she came from Kansas.
Yeah, so after I got back from my deployment, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Ended up coming back into COVID. And then I was in the New Jersey National Guard. I got activated for New Jersey's COVID response. And I spent 14 months active National Guard in New Jersey during COVID.
So what did you guys do during the COVID stuff? Because we didn't have any of that in Utah. Like, they didn't activate the National Guard. They didn't do anything. It was just one of those things where it was like, oh, you can. It was pretty low key, here anyway. I don't know about Salt Lake, but like in Richfield, it was pretty low key. Like, oh, go get your vaccination or don't go get it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, there was no presence of stuff.
New Jersey was intense because we were right next to like the hot spot of New York or whatever they called it. So like New Jersey was completely shut down. We as the National Guard did a lot of running testing sites, running vaccination sites, and then providing additional assistance to like nursing facilities and things like that. So we had soldiers and airmen in like the veterans homes in New Jersey and then some other long-term care facilities. So I spent maybe 6 months as a deputy commander of one of our joint task forces for the long-term care facilities. And then after that mission was over, I spent the rest of my time as the state medical planner for New Jersey. So at that point, I had to basically plan and execute vaccination missions for the entire DoD population in New Jersey.
Good grief.
Yeah.
That's a big
it was
task.
A lot. And then we were also just like tracking all of the COVID cases in New Jersey, doing the contact tracing, updating the guidance about quarantine and all that kind of stuff. It was a nightmare. But then after I came off those orders, I was like, all right, I don't want to do full-time Army anymore. I want to do CrossFit. Yeah. So I ended up getting into contact with a coach in Kansas, and from my deployment and from my activation for COVID, I was able to save up a decent amount of money. So I moved to Kansas and went full-time CrossFit and lived out of my savings account. And I knew I had about 2 years to make it. And my original plan, when I had come back from deployment, I had started an application for the FBI. So I was about 1.5 years into the application process for the FBI when I decided to move to Kansas. And at that point, I was probably like a week or two from getting an offer to Quantico for the academy, and I withdrew my application to move to Kansas and do CrossFit full time.
I want to drive. I want to drive for the FBI or CIA.
You want to drive?
Like, I want to be a driver. Well, I'm a UPS guy, and I've been doing it for 24 years. And I'm just like, I want to be a driver. Like, I want you to put me in a Tahoe, bulletproof Tahoe. I want to drive. I want to drive the freaking limousines. You know, all those. Like, I want to drive. Like, I want to be a driver.
Funny.
Like, I think. I mean, you know,
Well,
when you sit.
so is the FBI do that, or is that
Secret Service?
I
don't know.
Whatever.
Secret Service. I
Whatever.
think Secret Service, you get to drive like the important people around and like.
He
Right.
just wants to drive a black Suburban with
that's
blacked out
it.
windows.
There it is.
And bulletproof.
With the-
Don't forget
Bulletproof.
bulletproof. I
Like
wanted
them
the bulletproof
EX plates,
vehicle.
with
I
them
mean, you drive
exempt
those
plates.
UPS trucks; those things are tanks anyway. They're pieces of crap. I mean, you can, if I can drive one of those in the back roads and up the hills and stuff like that where I go. I mean, I think I can do a Tahoe, okay, you know.
For sure.
And a
Picked
limousine's
out.
a little bit longer, and I'm used to driving long stuff, so let's do it. Like, I've always.
Dude,
I mean, when
that's your retirement job right there.
Dude, when you sit there and drive all day long, I mean, I'm 45 minutes just to my first stop. There's a lot of time to think about what you want to do. Like, my imagination gets wild while I'm driving around by myself all day long, just delivering packages. So yeah, I think I could do a Secret
That's why we
Service
started a
vehicle.
podcast.
It's 100%.
It was.
Sean and I, Hessy and I talk
He would
all
always be
day.
calling me. He'd always just calling me, and I'm like, I gotta get headphones. So I'd have headphones, and we'd sit there and chat it up. And then we both were like, we kind of just came across it. And we're like, we should probably just do a podcast. And then that's just so we can get. I mean, it's cool when we get together. But so, okay, so
Sorry.
then you saved up money.
And you got out of the FBI. My bad.
It's all right.
We weaned you out of the FBI.
So I moved to Kansas. My original plan was I had about 2 years worth of money in my savings account, so I would do CrossFit for 2 years, see how far I could get, and then I would reapply to the FBI.
So
I
how
got to
long, when you did
Kansas.
CrossFit though, like how long were you training per day?
When I moved to Kansas, I was doing like 6 to 7 hours a day in the gym.
Jeez, forget it.
Yeah.
My gosh.
So I started coaching a couple months after I got to Kansas, so that was like a little bit of additional income. And I was there for 2 years. I ended up making semifinals both years I was there. So the first year it was kind of unexpected. I had got there in October, and the Open started in February, so I didn't really think that was going to be the year that it was going to happen, but it did. So I made semifinals in 22 and 23, and then a couple months ago I was coming up on the end of my lease for my apartment, and it was about that 2-year mark, and I was starting to run out of money and having to figure out what to do next. And then Sean had posted on Instagram saying that he was looking for somebody to come out and coach for him, train with him, and in return you got to live in a tiny house on his property.
So I'm not going to
Yes.
ask you this, like what you were making for your CrossFit classes, but I'm going to just throw it out there what I do for per class on me. It's $15. I make
Yeah.
$15. So CrossFit coaches, I mean, unless you're like a Sweeney or you're somebody that, you know, like you said, you've made semifinals like 2 years in a row. Like that's prestigious. And that's a hard word for me to say right now. My mouth
Dude,
is
you
not
nailed
working.
it, bro.
And so what I'm saying is there is a place for, you know, to make some good money doing CrossFit and coaching classes and personal training and stuff like that. But here, not so much. Like, I know, like Hessy's told me kind of like what you guys pay per month, you know, to do CrossFit there, and Sweeney's Gym is all about. To me, anyway, like I feel like if you're gonna go to Sweeney's Gym and do CrossFit Power Stroke, like you are in the middle to elite. Like you could
That's
go
not
there.
true. That's not true.
I'm comparing
Yeah,
it
we
to
have
what I do.
We have a very wide population at the gym. Like anywhere from somebody who's never done fitness a day in their life all the way up to Sean.
Yeah, we just had one today. Dude had never even done CrossFit. And dropped in on Saturday.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he'll be hooked. He'll be back.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, and we have a ton of different age differences.
Yeah.
You know, from young. I think is Bradley?
He's like 14.
Is it Bradley? Right.
Yeah.
Bradley. Yeah. He's doing the qualifiers for NorCal Classic for the teens division, and he's 14.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
all the way up to Louis doing the NorCal Classic.
So is Suzanne.
He's 60. Yeah. And I think Suzanne's right around there.
I think Suzanne's either late 50s, early 60s, something like that. Yeah.
No, CrossFit is awesome. I mean, I agree. Like it is built for anybody and everybody. Like it 100%. Like you could be. Now I don't want to sound. I don't know what insensitive. But if you were a quadriplegic and you were in a wheelchair, you could still show up to a CrossFit gym, and your coaches are gonna find something, and they will work with you, and you will feel part of the class 100%. The CrossFit community across the board, I feel like, is no matter where you go. I could go to Kansas, you know, and drop in on the class, and they're gonna make you feel like you've been there 100% of the time. Like they're not gonna shun you. They're not gonna look bad on you. Like, you know, depending on you know what your gym is at your place, and you go to this. Like when I go to Sweeney's gym, I mean, I have a little bit of a benefit because Hessey's my brother, so it's a little bit more. I feel more welcome. But I think Sweeney and the coaches like you and even Sean or Hessey, even though he's not a coach, he still makes everybody feel like you've been there the whole time. Like they're not going to make you feel bad. But
yeah, and I
do you feel like Fallon, compared to what you were doing in Kansas, is comparable to the same thing, or do you feel like where you're working under Sweeney, you feel like you're getting a little bit more?
It's just different. I mean, I didn't necessarily want to leave Kansas. I was happy there. I had a good coach. I had a good community, but I couldn't afford rent anymore. And so when this opportunity came up with Sean, it would have been stupid for me to not pursue it. And the fact that it worked out, like, is amazing, and I'm so thankful that I'm here and I get to continue pursuing competitive CrossFit. It's just different. So my previous coach in Kansas, her name is Jill. She is an amazing programmer. She's been in like fitness coaching for 20 something years. She's so knowledgeable from like a programming perspective and very analytical about all that kind of stuff. But she is not a CrossFit competitor. And so now having Sean as my coach, who is a competitor and who has experienced being on the competition floor doing the workouts, it's just different. And I think it's good for me right now, because I think, you know, if you stick with the same thing for an extended period of time, you're going to kind of like hit a ceiling with what plateau. You can benefit from that. And so I think the change is what I needed. Just like getting a little bit different perspective on things, and also now having training partners, because I was training by myself in Kansas, which I think while I was there, I really needed that for a while, because I needed to be able to focus on what I needed to work on and what I needed to improve, and not have to worry about like constantly competing with somebody next to me. And you know, I could focus on doing good movements, hitting good reps, instead of trying to beat someone. Mm-hmm. And now, again, just like the coaching situation, I feel like I kind of hit a plateau with the benefit that I got from training alone. And so now, having training partners, having Sean to train next to and kick my ass every day, it's really good. Like, that's kind of like the next step I need now to like level up, basically.
That's the stage that you're at now. Yeah, for sure. Well, it's cool. I mean, we're super glad that you're here for sure. It's a benefit to us too in Fallon.
And the gym here has been so amazing and so welcoming. The community is awesome. And just like Vinny was saying, like, you can go to any CrossFit gym and the community is going to welcome you with open arms. And like, that's one of the things that I love about CrossFit is
I do like that, because it's like you go into like a bro rep place and it's like everybody's staring at you, like judging you before you even like do anything. Like you just walk in, they're like, wait, who's this guy? What's he gonna do?
Sizing you
what
up.
What kind of workouts he doing? I wonder what, CrossFit gym, it's like you get the most cheers for being last.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're the shittiest CrossFitter, you get the most cheers and like everybody gets all amped up. Like,
well, and it's because everybody's been there.
Yeah.
And they understand what it feels like to be the last one working and to struggle through something and to actually...
Oh, yeah. I get more pumped up when, like, other people, like, hit like, PRs or, like, will do something better. And I'm just like, yes, finally, yeah. Like, I get jazzed up. And they're just like, they're probably like, what in the world? Why are you so excited?
That's one of the things I love about coaching. Because, and once you get to a certain level, you're not hitting PRs very often.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even tell you the last time I PR'd a lift, I don't know. But like
the yoke hold the other day. I don't want to mention that.
But that's the thing. Like, who talks about yoke hold?
People
PRs?
don't even know what a yoke hold is. They're probably like, a what? These guys eating eggs at the gym.
But that's the best part. That's the best part for me is when you do a lift or something that it's not your normal bench press, back squat, front squat, deadlift. When you do something like a clean or whatever like that, and you hit that, and there's not a lot of people, unless you're an Olympic lifter or a CrossFitter, that are doing those kind of movements. And so it's a lot of fun to be like, oh yeah, I did this the other day, and I got an older guy at work that knows that I do this, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I hit like 195 pounds on a 185 pounds on a clean, and he's like, well, what's a clean? So you tell him what a clean is, and he's like, I couldn't do that at 45 pounds. He's 65 years old, but he's just like, I don't think I could do that. I'm like, yeah, you could. I mean, if you wanted to, like, we could work you up to it. But yeah, so a lot of that stuff is exciting when you do. And like you said, you don't hit PRs very often. It could be 6 months later, and you're like, and I do it to Sean or to Hessey a lot. I'm like, oh, dude, I hit 190 or whatever. It's a 5-pound PR, But it's been 6-7 months since I've done it at 185. Now I'm hitting 190, and he's like, dude, that's awesome. Like, I'm getting exclamation mark texts. I'm getting all this kind of stuff. So I mean, it makes you feel pretty good about it, and it kind of keeps you in it. Keep going for even 2.5 pounds. Like you said, I mean, there's a certain point where people just kind of plateau out. But if you're working on it and you're seeing those gains, then it does make you want to go back the next day. So
and like it's probably been 2 years since I've PR'd my clean. Like, it's been 2 years since I've PR'd my snatch. Like, I don't necessarily get those PRs anymore, but being able to see and help other people get those PRs, like, that is just as exciting. And that's why it's so much fun to coach and like help people hit the numbers that they didn't think they could hit, or do the movements that they didn't think they could do. Like, so a kid at the gym a couple weeks ago got his first double unders, and he did like 30 of them in class. The very first time he ever did double unders, and it was so cool, like, to be able to help somebody do something that they didn't think they could do. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's rad. It just brings it. It brings it just so you don't have to keep doing PRs because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
It's just exciting. So it's rad. So then, so your future, you're saying you want to. Of course, like now we get like you want to make it to the games.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we're coming into now, because the Open's coming up here in a few months and stuff like that. So we wish you best of luck on that.
Thank
going
you.
into there. So that'll be coming up. And then I guess like distance future.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
I mean, I feel like we all are. You know what I mean? We all think we got it down. Like, I mean, you're still too young. Like, I'm looking at retiring. but you're just getting started. So.
I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm 31 years old and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up.
I'm well past that, and I'm still trying to do it.
Well, in the near future, have you found anybody in Nevada that has caught your eye, taken on a date? Like, have you seen any of that stuff going on?
Getting into it.
Let's not yet.
No? I mean, you've been there for a month. I'm surprised they haven't flocked to you yet. I've been to Fallon. They're desperate for good-looking women, and so.
I don't do anything except go to the gym.
We have to keep her out of that.
But you can. That's where I found my wife, my second wife. We met at the gym, so I mean, there's always that.
There it is.
There is.
You're always there. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Ellia. And so I'll post all this information you gave to me too. I got your Instagram at Ellia_Miller, and then we'll kind of post that stuff out there on that.
All right.
She used to have a nickname too, Vinny. You might like this one.
Okay, what was that? Did I miss it?
I forget about it, huh? No.
Oh, okay.
But she'll tell you before because then I got a gift for her. But
okay, what was your nickname?
So when I was in ROTC, we always went by our last name because the military, you go by your last name.
Right.
And there were two Millers, and one of the cadre just got really frustrated that every time he would say Miller, both of us would turn around. So one day he was like, all right, I'm tired of this. From now on, he looks at the other guy, he goes, you're Miller, and he looks at me and he goes, you're Miller Light. So from then on, I was Miller Light.
See, and I had Miller High Life. I had Miller High Life in my brain. I was like, all right.
I mean, Vinny don't drink Miller Light, but might have to bring one on the next time.
No.
Just for like.
I'm good.
He don't like beer. He doesn't drink beer. He always drinks the foo-foo stuff.
All right.
Well, cool. Well, we thank for coming on. We got you a shirt too.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, we got you a flapping your gum shirt,
Hell
of course, with some merch on there, and then we got the little design on the back there.
That's awesome.
If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the design. If not, that's legitimately the silhouette of Vinny in my head. So you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Mine's the fat one.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It's the one with no neck.
The one with no neck.
I had him trim off the double chin there. I had him trim it down a little bit. So.
They had to do some editing.
A little
on
bit of
that
Photoshop.
thing, huh?
I mean, it's a silhouette. Nobody knows,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's right. All right. Well,
thank you so much.
That was rad.
Thanks for having me. This is
fun. We'll get you again too, and we'll just kind of maybe do like get a couple more people on here and do like a group set.
I want to have her on here and see how the qualifiers went in in February at the Open. Let's recap how the Open
We'll still
went.
be here. Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Peace.
Peace.